So, hello and welcome to another video in the series called Rugby in Focus. Remember, this is a series where we look at the professional game and see how that applies to us. The aspects of the pro game we're looking at today is the counter-attack. This is very key to us as a team and how tries have scored in rugby, because although today we're looking at the counter-attack from a kick, we can actually use this to show us how we would do it off turnover ball. So let's get right into this, and obviously the place to start is to set up the counter-attack. As we can see here in image number 1, we're looking at the New Zealand versus Australia game at Rugby World Cup 2011. It's early on in the game, so this is why it's one of the reasons why this is a good clip, because everyone's reacting as they would normally and nothing's really affecting them. And here we can see number 14, I think in this game, was Israel Dag, and he's dropped back and read that kick really well. So if we can use that in our game, if we can read those kicks and drop back and field them, then we can go for the counter-attack from that. Because inside him he's got 3 All Black players, and forwards are in the middle of the park. Look at that line, it's diagonally back, so it will force those people on the outside to come in if it goes wide. So you want to throw it in, and then this guy needs to invade the space, because rugby is an invasion game, so you've got to invade the space going forward and then hold it there. And here again, later in the New Zealand-Australia game, we see the All Blacks again, one of the best counter-attacking side in the world, with players like Bolan Barrett and Julian Savea and Malachi Fekitoa. But it all comes from the structure they play with. They have a very basic structure, believe it or not, the amount of things they can do, but they have a really simple, easy structure to learn, where they'll have the fullback and the wing will drop back for where it's going, and then the other wing can stay up and then drop in to get that 3 across the park, and then attack the space if needs be. Here in the third image about setting up the counter-attack, this is kind of about, could go in either section. It's about making sure we're making those right decisions, but in particular, look how wide those people are. As St Ives, we aren't going to be able to pass half a pitch. We're not Owen Farrell or George Ford. So we need to get tighter, and I've noticed in a lot of our games, our line is tight anyway. So if we run back normally, then we've done our job. But as well as that, though, we need to make sure that we've got, because they're kind of connected by a line, that wing is still coming back, and then the wing and fullback are already set, the other wing, so the right wing and fullback in this case, are already set, ready to kick. And then he's caught the ball, and then look at that space, so you've got to invade it and go forward into that space, then look to pass, and then he can go up, and then you could end up with a dangerous counter-attack opportunity happening over on that left side of the field. So now, moving on into this second section, we'll be looking at decision making. This is kind of like in that last image, could have gone in either this or setting up the counter-attack. We're looking at when we choose to run, when we choose to kick. And here in the first image, we can see how Australia have been pegged back by a wonderful kick by the Kiwis, and the Kiwis have got 4 men coming straight on the middle. So in this situation, we don't want to try and kick it back, because we do want to try and kick it back, because we don't want to run it back, because he's got no support there. They've got a line, and they've got 2 within the 15-metre channel, meaning if he does decide to run it back, he could easily be driven into touch. Here in the last image on this section, we can see a very clear move there by the All Blacks to clear it back downfield, and as they've done that, that means, because it's come off a kickoff, most of the team are behind them anyway, so it means they can go straight after the chase. And so when we do get the ball in our own 22, look for the safety of touch. Don't try and run it out and then kick. Kick from kind of where he is if you can. Get as close to that line and then thump it, because that's kind of like an insurance policy. If you do hit touch by accident, it means that at least we've gained territory. But if you're outside, if he's a metre in front of where he is now, that comes back to a metre in front of our 22, and that just can't happen even at our age. And here we're coming to defending, so we can see, so this is about how we're going to defend this counterattacks from the other team. So if they do try and counterattack us, then we know how to respond. And here in the first image, we can see an example from the France-Tonga game. So in this example, we can see the French have been forced to retreat from a good play by the Tongans. It's under defence, even though it's more applicable to the Tongans, because of how they've kicked it. They haven't kicked that to retrieve it as such. They've kicked it to peg France back. So if we can do that, then that gives us the opportunity to hustle the French into touch and win the turnover from line outs. Also, look at that defensive line. It might look a bit short considering they're going to have a 2-on-1, but if two of them make that tackle, the other player can clear over, or he can go sniffing around for the intercept, and then the next player can come in and clear over. So that's a very good chase by the Tongan rugby team there. Here in this second image, we can see a bad chase. So this is something we don't want to do. We can see a French lone chaser. So he's got men on his inside, but he's just so easily done. He's left the entire park open. So Tonga could come round where he's running, or they could switch it back and run towards the other line. They could try and engage him, then slip an offload, and then the next person goes through the gap. Because if you see after him, there's a nice big gap through which they can attack. And here, although it is a single person chase, this is what you need on a single person chase. So we'll be able to see this afterwards, but this is a wonderful play. Well, you'll see it now. Sorry, I've mistaken it for another image, but you can see now that it's a great hit, because Xavier, whose nickname is the bus, because when he gets going, it's hard to put him down, so he's kind of like the new Jonah Loman. If you hit him when he's just touching the floor, then you can stop him, whereas if Julian Severe gets that defender 2 metres away, so in line with the scrum half and outside centre, he can pass that off and step in, or even try and hand him off and then give an offload. So we got to make sure that we are timing those hits to perfection. And then here in the last image I'm going to show you today, I hope this video has been quick enough. It's just coming up to 10 minutes where I'm sat recording this, so I hope it's quick enough for you. But in the last image we've got to focus, because this is exactly what we want. As soon as he catches it and his foot hits the ground, even if it's just the end of his boot, take his legs or drive him up and make sure you hit him on the deck, because you're going to win that contact every single time. So you hit him as he touches the floor. He doesn't have time, because one of the hardest things is if he can get a second, literally a second, and any player will be able to do this, because you're going to be coming up so fast trying to time it just right. So if he can get even a slight step, he'll break it halfway, meaning you lose that momentum. So you've got to hit them just at the right time, because I think even I could break an easy tackle like that straight afterwards. Well, thank you guys for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned a lot about how we're going to approach our kicking counteract next season. So remembering wings and fullbacks and all backs, actually, because you never know, with injuries and things you might end up playing there. So we want the wings to drop back, or a wing to drop back, and then the fullback to drop back, acting in, like, it's kind of a tandem. So you're all attached by like an invisible piece of rope, and if the wings pull and push the fullback around, meaning the fullback can be used in attack if the wing gets the ball and passes it inside. And then when we're defending, we're looking to kick it into that 15-metre channel, and making sure that if we are in that 15-metre channel, we want to clear the ball into touch. So making sure we don't try and run it around if the defenders are in our faces. And then finally, wings and everyone who's listening, but mainly wings, if you are going to chase the kick, make sure you hit them when they land. Don't let them plant their feet or try and turn you. Make sure you just get them as soon as their feet touch the ground.